What's going on, guys? Jay from the BSP Wrestling Show here to give you guys my WWE Smackdown Live review for March 21st, 2017. Now, tonight, we didn't have, once again, Mauro Ranallo. He wasn't on commentary. They addressed it and said that he was sick and out for the night, so that was pretty weird. They've never really announced that one of the commentators would be out because they were sick, and he didn't make it to the show last week because of the snowstorms that hit the northeast part of the world. So I don't know if something's up with him or if they're about to fire him or assign him to do something else, but it's not looking good for Mauro Ranallo. I really hope they don't get rid of him. He's one of my favorite commentators in the WWE, so I hope that they at least give him another chance, to make up for it. But yeah, it's not really looking good for him. But we did get a great episode of SmackDown. This episode has some moments in it that were freaking hilarious, and one part that I particularly didn't like. So let's get right into the review. But before I do, slap a like on the video. It definitely would help the channel out, and I would appreciate it a lot. And now let's get into the review. So Daniel Bryan started off, and it seemed like he was talking to, I guess, one of the directors of the show or something, or a producer or something. He was just like, yeah, I just want this set up perfectly, and let's do that. And then AJ Styles walks in. He had on WrestleMania gear. He had on like a t-shirt and like a hat. And he was just hyped up because he has a match at WrestleMania now. Daniel said that he doesn't like what Shane's doing and he would prefer to keep him fired. But Shane saw it as an opportunity to show people how to handle it like a man instead of attacking him from behind like a coward. He has no clue what he's in store for at WrestleMania. And that's when AJ asked, is Shane here yet? And Daniel said he's on his way. AJ was like, wow, this feels like deja vu. So I'm going to go out there again and tell the people how it feels to beat up Shane McMahon. So that's when AJ headed to the ring or whatever. He said it's been 7 long days, and he's had 7 days to think about what happened last week. He says he's not sorry for anything he did last week, and it felt good punching Shane McMahon in the face. Everything Shane has put him through, he was glad to put him through something, that being a car window. And then he says Shane has the audacity after he's fired to say AJ has a match now. And then AJ was like, well, he was like, do I? I'm going to face you? Like, that's my match at WrestleMania? I'm not going to be facing off in the main event for the title. I'm going to be facing you. He said he must be crazy because AJ accepts the challenge. But why? AJ, a superior athlete like himself and a former world champion, would want to face Shane McMahon at Mania. Simple. He just wants to be a part of WrestleMania. And if this is the match he's going to get, he's going to take it. Shane should be asking himself why he would want to face AJ Styles. Because he said it's because without him, SmackDown Live plummets and their social media page goes down like Shane McMahon went through the car window. He says there's nothing nobody can do to him, and he's getting rewarded for putting him through a car window. He said he's going to meet Shane again in the parking lot tonight and wait for him just like he did last week. And if you think what he did was bad last week, it could get phenomenally worse. So they cut to Daniel still in his office, and he was on the phone with Shane just warning him about what AJ was trying to do, and he was going to wait for him in the parking lot again. Shane tells him something. Daniel Bryan smiled and was like, okay, I'm with you 100%. And that was pretty much it. Then Corbin walks in after he hangs up the phone and asks where Dean Ambrose is because he wants to know if Dean accepts his challenge for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. Daniel says he hasn't heard from him in a few weeks, and Corbin was like, all right, that's great. I'll have the night off. I'll be in the casino if you need me. Peace. And Daniel was like, whoa. This is the wrong night for you to walk into my office because now you're going to have a match against someone you've never faced, and that's the Viper Randy Orton. And then Corbin stared at him menacingly and just walked away. Didn't say anything else. Then we kick it off with the first match of the night, the WWE Smackdown Live Tag Team Championship match. American Alpha versus them thugs, the Usos. The crowd was definitely pro-Uso tonight. I've been saying this for weeks. It feels like something's missing from American Alpha. I don't know what it is. I think part of their gimmick is being dumbed down. They don't say Ready, Willing, and Gable anymore. Chad Gable doesn't have his towel. They just come out and that's it. I don't know. The crowd isn't really on their side. The Usos are great though. during the match doing what they do best, cutting off the ring, stopping the frequent tags, and isolating one member of the team. And it doesn't really matter which one they get, but once they get them, that's when they can work their move sets onto them. Even when they tried to get away to get a tag, the other Uso was on the other side, making sure their partner wasn't even on the apron anymore. Because I think Chad Gable had got away from one of the Usos, and the other one was on the other side of the ring by where Jason Jordan was, and knocked him off the apron so that they couldn't tag each other in. So that was a pretty good strategy. They've been switching to do that more lately, and it's been working. But Jason Jordan did get his hot tag, shot out of off the apron like a rocket. Those suplexes he hit, and he was getting some cheers for it. Then they tried to set up for that electric chair bulldog that they do. They don't really do grand amplitude that much, or they just have been working on a new finisher. But they went, the Usos went for a super kick and a splash spot from the top rope, only got a 2 count, and the crowd was like, oh, they were ready to explode. They thought there would be new tag team champions right then and there. But they both got up, to the top to hit like a double splash. One of the Usos got knocked off. Gable suplexed the other one from the top. He ran to the top rope and suplexed him off. Then they hit the electric chair bulldog off the top rope, and I thought it was over. And they would have gotten a 3 count, but the other Uso from the outside saved the pin. And I think they pulled Gable out of the ring. Or no, they pulled Jason Jordan out of the ring and threw him into the barricade. Gable did a moonsault to the outside. They threw him over the barricade. Jason Jordan ran into one of the Usos and threw him into the ring. As he was getting into the ring, he had 1 foot inside the ring, and the other Uso from the outside of the ring pulled on his leg, and the ropes kind of hit right where the sun don't shine. And as he did stumble into the ring, the other Uso was there to super kick him and pick up the win. And we have new SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. And while I'm happy the Usos won, I feel like WWE kind of did it a little bit too early. They kind of blew their load a little too early on this. I would have loved to see this at Mania, but they did it now, which I guess is alright. We'll see what the story is going to be heading into WrestleMania. I'm sure American Alpha is going to get their rematch, but man, this match could have been a great match on WrestleMania, but at the same time, they probably would have just threw it on the pre-show. So yeah, this was a great match. New tag team champions, happy for the Usos. And, they didn't celebrate like they normally do. Back when they were, the hyper whatever Usos, they would, celebrate that certain way. They would just jump around, jump in the crowd. But now that they're heels, they're veterans. So they just had the titles, looked at each other, and was like, yep, we did it, and walked away. So I thought that was pretty cool. They showed a shot, just like they did last week, of AJ waiting in the parking lot for Shane McMahon to arrive, just pacing a little bit. We had a Luke Harper promo. He said he saw what Sister Abigail can do to a man, and how strong her powers are, and how she can turn a good man into a bad one. And Randy opened Pandora's box and unleashed Bray Wyatt and took him to his limits and actually broke him. But now, next week, he's going to break Bray or something like that. Something like that. It kind of confused me a little bit. Maybe I just didn't hear it right. Whatever. And then we get the Miz and the Maryse. And this was probably the best part of the night for me. They had these unseen Total Bellas scenes. And oh my goodness. Maryse did double duty. She was playing Nikki Bella and Brie Bella. And John Cena was played by The Miz. So they, I don't know if they were actually in John Cena's house for this. It looked like it. I'm not sure what his house looks like. But they had Maryse dressed up as Nikki and Brie. They were on the outside or whatever, just talking. And she kept saying, like, Brie mode. And then she was making fun of Nikki Bella too. And I'm just dying this whole time. She was just saying her catchphrases and everything. And then Miz came out the house dressed up as John Cena. He had on jorts, the shirt, the armbands, the hat, everything. He came out of the house like he was doing his entrance, and he was just in his backyard or whatever. So he came over to the table, And I guess Maryse was singing, acting like Nikki and Brie were singing. So Cena was like, "You broke rule number 1, no singing," or or something like that. And then he put Brie on double secret probation, and and then he went to go propose to Nikki Bella. He was like, he was like, "I'm gonna pop the question to you." After he told her she broke a rule for having her feet on the table, he was like, "I'm going to pop the question." Because, Miz has been saying John Cena's a robot for the past few weeks, and he was talking just like that. He said he was going to pop the question. They had this music play like he was about to really propose to her to marry him. And they had the whole wedding music play and everything. And Maryse sold it so well, her face was just like, "Oh, really?" And then he had a freaking balloon that had question on it and just popped the balloon. He literally popped the question. And I'm just sitting here dying. And then that was pretty much it for that segment. And they said it was to be continued or something. And just the way the Miz was standing, just like Cena, and like how he leans forward and talks while like his legs and the back part of his body are just standing behind. Dude, it was so hilarious. I was literally in tears laughing at this segment. It was so hilarious. They played that so well. Oh my goodness. They did another scene later, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So we get another match. We get Baron Corbin versus Randy Orton. The Lone Wolf versus the Viper. I like this dynamic of these two clashing. They were really aggressive with each other in this match, and both got in some great offense. Corbin took advantage of Randy Orton during like the middle parts of the match, where you know how he ducks out of the ring, runs around the pole, and gets back in? Yeah, and then just runs his opponent over. He did that. Got some good offense in. Then he tried to do it again, but Randy this time caught him with that snap suplex that still looks beautiful when he executes it. And then he pulled off the between the rope DDT that he does. I don't know if they have like a name for it. They should call it like the Viper DDT or whatever, something like that. Corbin came back, hit him with the deep six, and they fought to the outside. And then I think he ran into some steel steps, but recovered and beat the 10 count. Got back into the ring, and it looked like he was about to try to set up for the end of days. But as he went for that, Dean Ambrose was over there, and you could just see the crowd shift. They were looking at the entrance ramp at something, and I thought something had happened. I didn't know what was going on. But Dean Ambrose was standing on top of the forklift that Baron Corbin had pinned him under 2 or 3 weeks ago, and was like, "Hey, Corbin, you busy?" And Corbin looked over at him like, "What the heck are you doing?" "Oh yeah, come on, I'm ready to fight." And that's when Randy Orton got up, turned him around, hit him with the RKO, signaled to Dean like, "Thanks for the assist," and got the pin and got up out of there. And then after that, Dean Ambrose came to the ring and was like, "Oh, so you want to challenge me for my title at WrestleMania? I accept." Then he picked up Corbin, hit him with the dirty deeds, and then he left. So that was pretty much setting up that match for Mania. And, yeah, that was pretty cool. He costed him the match, trying to screw him over the way Corbin, pretty much did to him. Except, I hope they have a stipulation for this match. They have one more week before WrestleMania. They have one more Smackdown, the go-home show. So I'm hoping they add a stipulation, because these two could really throw down if they give them like a stipulation, like a street fight or something, or false count anywhere. I hope they do something. Just don't have them have a normal match. They could do so much with these two. They had another shot of AJ still standing in the parking lot. This time he was getting impatient, waiting for Shane to arrive. That's when Randy Orton was interviewed about Bray's message last week. As you know, Bray baptized himself in Sister Abigail's ashes last week. And Randy was like, he doesn't know what to think or how to respond to it, or even how to get rid of them. He said the ashes were the last thing he expected from him. And then as the lights started to flicker, you notice Renee Young, who was giving the interview, slid up out of there so smooth. Them lights started to flicker. She looked up and she was gone. Randy looked. He was like, "Wait, what the hell did she just bounce on me?" And then the lights went completely dark, and then you could see feet standing around Randy Orton. And it was people in sheep masks and, the black robes or whatever they had on, and they were all surrounding him. So he tried to fight his way out of it, but they just beat him up and pinned him up against the wall. And that's when Bray Wyatt showed up. He had this weird cross thing in his hand, and he started saying this enchantment on Randy Orton, and he laid it up against him. He said Randy has changed him. He exposed his one flaw, which was Abigail. But what he didn't know was that one flaw will become his greatest strength. And he said she's with him now and she lives in him. And by exposing that one fatal flaw, he's stronger than he could imagine. Then he started singing, he's got the whole world in his hands. It was really, 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 really creepy. And that's perfect. That's perfect for Bray Wyatt. If this is what we're going to be doing with him, we're trying to establish him as the new face of fear. Great. This is how we should have been doing it. And now, I don't feel sorry for Bray anymore. I don't know if anybody else does, but I remember a few weeks ago when Randy burned down his compound, we were like, dang, I kind of feel bad for Bray. You feel bad for Bray anymore? Because I know I don't. I really don't. Not anymore. Randy has something to overcome. Randy thinking he had the upper advantage, thinking he had one up on Bray Wyatt, exposing his biggest flaw, it turned out to work against Randy, and now Bray Wyatt's stronger than ever. So this is perfect. This is great. I love how they're booking it. I said I was going to be patient before I, completely crapped on it for not making sense, but it's starting to make sense. They're just trying to elevate Bray Wyatt to this fear level. He baptized himself in his sister's ashes. Like, it doesn't get much more creepier than that. And now he's more powerful than he already was. He was already powerful, but now he's even more powerful. And he has nothing standing in his way now. This is the one part of the show I did not like. I'm going to be honest. It was Fandango versus John Cena. And when I heard about the match, I'm just like, okay, well, obviously Fandango's about to do the job, because this is not about to be no competitive match. But boy, did I not expect what happened next. You want to talk about burials? What did Breezango do? Please tell me what they did to deserve this. They literally... Okay, so Fandango comes out, and he points for Tyler Breeze to come out. And this man, Tyler Breeze, came out dressed up as Nikki Bella. Had the implants in and everything. Same outfit. Had the fake hair, the hat backwards, the shirt, one of them ripped open. And oh my goodness, I'm just like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, okay, maybe they're just trying to make fun of Cena because Miz is exposing him or whatever. So Cena comes out, and then Fandango starts cutting his promo on him. He's talking about, you just been exposed for being a lousy boyfriend on Total Bellas. He gave him a ticket for that. And then he was like, for wearing jorts in 2017, he gave him a ticket. And then he gave him one for being a lousy wrestler. And then he said, Tyler Breeze has been repackaged as Breezy Bella. Yep, can't make that up. And then John Cena looks at him, and then he points to the entrance ramp, and you knew Nikki Bella was coming out. So she comes out, stands on the outside of the ring. The match starts. Fandango still has some tickets left, so he's just throwing tickets at John Cena, and then he slaps him with them. So Cena proceeds to go right into his comeback. The double shoulder tackles, the punch, the miss, the slam, the 5-knuckle shuffle, and then before he can hit the AA, I can't believe I'm calling him this, Breezy Bella gets in the ring, and so does Nikki Bella. Cena picks up Fandango. Nikki Bella picks up Tyler Breeze, or Breezy Bella as they wanted to call him. And Cena hits the AA. Nikki Bella hits the Rack Attack 2.0. And they put both of them in the STF. And Tyler Breeze tapped out to a female. What the hell are we doing? Why? Why are we burying Breezango? This was a team that I thought had promise. They're doing the whole weird fashion police thing, but that was kind of Tyler's gimmick to begin with. Just not the whole police thing. He was kind of like calling people ugly and stuff. They paired him with Fandango. They put him on SmackDown. I'm like, okay, with this new era thing, they could make it work. They could find a way to make it work. But no, somehow, some way, they must have pissed off somebody backstage, and Tyler Breeze had to tap out to Nikki Bella. Why? I've lost all hope for them at this point. Like, there's no coming back from that. that was very strange. We get Carmella versus Becky Lynch, or so we thought, but Natalya, who was on commentary, went to attack Carmella. That's when all hell started to break loose. Mickie James came out, and Alexa Bliss, who got the best of everyone and held her title up in the middle of the ring. Even James Ellsworth got hit. But Alexa was left standing in the middle of the ring by herself. They're just hyping up that women's match because they didn't, I guess, have enough time to do anything else. They could have just not did the Cena thing. They really didn't have to do that. Oh my God. Speaking of Cena, we get another Total Bellas Lost scene. This time it was them in the house or whatever, Miz and Maryse, but John and Nikki, and he kept telling Nikki Bella how much he loved her. He was like, "I love you." And it was like he was rehearsing it. And he was like, "Oh, okay, are we rolling film now? Okay, cool." And then he told the person, it was a person in the back holding a time card saying, "I love you, Nikki." He was like, "All right, get out of the frame, get out of the frame." And that was funny. And then he was like, "We're going to do a house tour, even though it's against rule number 24. We'll do it for you guys." And then they were in the living room, and Nikki Bella was talking about, or they were just in some room, and Nikki Bella was talking about how her and Bree solved the world's problems in that room or something. And she was acting just like Nikki Bella was, but like to the extreme, like acting like a dumb blonde, pretty much. That's what she was acting like. And I think that's when John Cena said, "People said I wouldn't buy you a diamond," or something like that. Oh no, they just moved to the next room, and she was talking about, this is where we watched the Marine, but it's not that great, and we're not allowed to watch any more movies or the sequels because The Miz is a better actor than Cena is. And that's when John was just like, "Well, I bought you a diamond." And she was just like, "Oh!" And then the wedding music played again, and he went to turn around to grab it, and he was like, "A Diamond Dallas Page yoga set." And I was dying laughing because she thought he was going to propose to her again, which was freaking hilarious. And then they go to the kitchen, and he was just like, "We don't show the cooks because that breaks another rule in the house." And then he was like, "People said I wouldn't buy you a ring, but I bought you a ring." Same thing happened. She had that stupid look on her face, that surprised look, that and then he was like, "A WWE ring." It was one of the little toy rings that they use and sell in like Walmart or something. So once again, I'm dying laughing at the way he's making John Cena's voice sound, the way that Maryse is playing Nikki Bella. All of this was just great. And then they go to the master bedroom where the magic happens, and he was talking about, "Okay, we don't really sleep here. Nikki stays on a different floor, and my bedroom is actually down the hallway." And he was just showing that off or whatever. And then Nikki Bella was like, "Well, we can spice it up by putting up the WWE Women's Championship on the wall." And then Miz got mad at her. He was like, "No, you don't ask me to enhance your career while the cameras are rolling. That's your second strike for the day." And when he threw up the strike, he had two hands up, like, Cena does the whole, the House of Loyalty respect sign. He had two fingers up for that. I was sitting here dying. It was so hilarious. And wait, every time they hit a transition, you could just hear Miz in the John Cena robot voice saying, "John Cena, recognize." And it was just, everything about this was perfect. And then once again, after he buried her saying, "Don't ask me to advance your career," she was like fake crying. And then he was like, "I got something to cheer you up. Let's tie the knot." And he got down on one knee. And she, once again, surprise face, and then wedding music played. And he started tying his dang shoe. I'm like, oh my God, this is golden. This is Emmy worthy. Like, this was freaking hilarious. They need to produce this and put this on the network. It was that good. It was hilarious. Everything from like the transitions when they entered a new room and he was just like, John Cena, recognize. And the way Maryse was just saying, John, the way Nikki Bella does it on Total Bellas, it was so freaking hilarious. I hope they do more segments next week because that was just great. The crowd loved it. I loved it. Twitter was going crazy for it. I'm sitting here in tears laughing. It was just great. So after that, we get AJ in the parking lot, and then like last week, Renee walks up to him and was like, so what are your intentions for this week? And as he goes to tell her, a car pulls up, so he sets up. He gets down, he hides behind this truck or whatever. He's waiting for Shane McMahon to get out of this car that he's supposedly in. So as the door opens, he goes to flinch at him, and it's Rhino and Heath Slater. They're like, oh, what's up, AJ? How you doing? AJ was just like, get out of here. And he thought it was Shane, but it wasn't Shane. So as they cut away from him, Shane McMahon's music hits and he goes to the ring. AJ's in the parking lot, so he has no clue. So Shane came out and got into the ring and was like, AJ acts like a tough guy by attacking him from behind, but he's giving him a chance to handle it like a man. He said they could have talked about it in the back man-to-man, or even if he wanted to throw hands, we could just set up a match at Mania, but he didn't have to sneak attack him. And then he was like, so now I'm looking for you. Either you're coming out or I'm going back there. Then Renee Young goes to inform AJ that Shane is in the ring. AJ was just like, really? How did I... So he dreadfully walks in from the backstage area. He gets to gorilla position, and right as he's about to open the curtain, he's just like, man, dang it. I had a plan and it didn't work this week. He grabs the microphone. He goes out there. He's like, Shane, I'm going to need you to calm down. Just calm down, take a deep breath, count to 10, whatever you have to do. You got to understand where I'm coming from. He told him that, he thought he had the main event of WrestleMania, and he went off the deep end and made a mistake, and he's sorry. He said that Shane did do him a favor, and he gave him a match at WrestleMania, and he's not like the other McMahons. So he was like, I'm going to get in the ring, I'm going to look at you face to face, I'm going to shake your hand, and I'm going to tell you that I'm sorry. And at this point, Shane's just in the ring looking at him like, okay, yep, we're going to do that. That's how this is going to go. And if you looked at his eye, I don't know if this was real or just really good makeup, but right below his eye and right above it, it just was like really bruised, or it just looked bruised or whatever. So I'm thinking that's probably just makeup, but it looked really good. It was a really good job, whoever did that. And AJ gets into the ring. He goes to shake Shane McMahon's hand, but Shane was already posted up at this point. As soon as AJ got in, he started hitting him with a flurry of punches to the point where AJ had to get out of the ring. Shane chased him out of the ring. AJ ran him into the video board on the outside and threw him into the barricade. He started to take the announce table apart, but Shane got up and suplexed him away from it, and then Shane finished clearing it off and dragged AJ to the announce table and laid him across it. He gets into the ring, and you know what's coming. He gets to the furthest top rope that he can get to, and he hits the dang leap of fate onto the announce table, and he hit it this time. It wasn't like when he did it to Undertaker and missed. No, he connected, and that was a good distance he had to jump from the top rope to hit that, and he hit it perfectly. It looked like a brutal spot, and him and AJ went crashing through the table. AJ was laid out. It took Shane a minute to get up, but he got up, looked at the WrestleMania sign, and pointed at it like everybody else does. And that was how SmackDown ended. AJ got what was coming to him. So I'm ready to see what happens next week, because AJ got one up on Shane. Shane got one up on AJ. So I'm wondering, are they going to add a stipulation to this match as well? But, I'm very invested into this match now. Like, I wasn't a fan of it when I first heard about it, but the way they've been booking it, I'm loving it so far. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm sure these guys can put on a good match at WrestleMania. I got faith in them. So that was the way SmackDown ended. I enjoy SmackDown. I'm giving it a B+. Wasn't quite an A show because Breezango got buried, but it was definitely a B+ show. Definitely beat out Raw this week for me, and no doubt about that, because Raw sucked. But let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown down in the comment section down below. So once again, slap a like on the video. It helps out the channel a whole bunch. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will talk to you guys later on. Peace.